The word she spat clung to the air, sharp as a knife's edge. "Take it back," she snapped. "I'd sooner suffer than accept charity from a useless man like you." Her scorn drew out a round of cruel laughter, and above it all, my wife's own voice cut deeper than any insult. That sound seared into me, hotter than any flame. I didn't argue. I didn't plead. I simply gathered my plate, stood, and gripped the handles of the wheelchair I had brought as a gift. $2,500. Money scraped from my hidden savings, rolled out the door with me. Not once did I glance over my shoulder. They mistook my silence for weakness. They didn't see it for what it was, the quiet before a storm. I had married into a family that never saw me as equal. To them I was a man without shine, without extravagance. Someone who labored in steady, unremarkable ways. 4 years I'd carried their shopping bags, fixed their leaky pipes, trimmed their hedges. I did it without complaint, thinking it might win me a measure of respect. When my wife's mother needed surgery and the doctor insisted a wheelchair would help her heal, I reached into a savings account I'd never spoken of. I chose the best chair, lightweight, with a reclining seat and whisper-smooth wheels. I thought it would ease her recovery, maybe even soften their view of me. Instead, I was repaid with venom. My wife, the woman who was supposed to be my partner, joined in their ridicule. That dinner table exposed a truth I had been too blind, or too hopeful to face. Betrayal doesn't always arrive in the form of infidelity. Sometimes it's the sound of the person you cherish most laughing while others strip you bare. That laughter carved wounds deeper than any affair could. On the drive home, the wheelchair stowed in the trunk, the word "worthless" echoed again and again in my mind. But instead of breaking me, it stripped away something else, my patience, my softness. By the time I parked, I knew what I had to do. At home, I opened my laptop. Years of trust had made them careless. I'd set up her mother's internet, knew the router codes, installed the security cameras, and even managed the backup storage for the footage. My wife, too comfortable with me by her side, had left her banking apps accessible on our shared tablet. That night while she slept, I looked. I didn't alter anything. I just uncovered hidden transfers. Loans her mother had taken out under my wife's name. A credit card stretched beyond its limit under her identity. And in the security footage, late-night visitors slipping through the back door. Strangers. Not neighbors. Not friends. Men. Welcomed by my wife with warmth I hadn't seen from her in years. I documented everything. Screenshots, copies, dates. I organized it all with care. And then I waited. For 2 weeks I played the same role they always thought me to be. Obedient, quiet, dull. One morning, instead of driving to work, I stopped by her mother's house. From the trunk I took a plain envelope and slid it beneath the doormat, deliberately in front of the camera I had installed long ago. Inside were the printouts, evidence of the bank transfers, the fraudulent loans, the incriminating photographs from those late-night visits. No words, no explanations. Just truth. By noon my phone buzzed with calls. From my wife, from her mother, from numbers I didn't recognize. I ignored them all. I walked into the bank, withdrew every cent of my savings, closed the accounts tied to her name, and finalized the condo I'd been securing quietly under my own. By evening I returned home. She was waiting, phone clutched in her trembling hands, her face pale. "They're saying you broke in. That you're trying to ruin us," she stammered. I only smiled. "I didn't break in. Watch the footage." And she did. The video showed me kneeling by the doormat, sliding the envelope into place. No forced entry, no malice. Just delivery. What she didn't know was that I'd already backed up the file. Even if they erased it, I had copies. If they kept it, it condemned them. There was no way out. That night, their household fractured. Her mother raged. My wife sobbed. They shouted accusations at each other, each one desperate to shift the blame. I sat in silence watching the chaos unfold. When at last she turned to me, cheeks wet, searching for mercy, I gave her only one truth. "You laughed. That's all I'll remember. You laughed while they called me nothing." Her mouth opened but no words came. There was nothing to defend. Within a week the damage spread. The bank began their pursuit of the fraudulent loans. Her mother pleaded for mercy, though her louder cries were still for money. The family tore itself apart, exposing every old wound and hidden resentment in the process. I didn't need to add fuel. I'd already lit the fire. She tried to reach me. Calls, texts, even showing up at my new condo, mascara streaking her cheeks. I opened the door only enough to tell her, "You had your laughter. Now you can crawl." Then I closed it, leaving her in silence. They'll never piece together how I knew, or how I stayed steps ahead. Truth requires honesty, and honesty has never lived in that family. I don't want their forgiveness. I don't crave their respect. All I ever wanted was for their laughter to stop. Now when I shut my eyes, the echoes of their mockery are gone. Only silence remains, the kind that follows when every cruel chuckle finally dies.